are these people?
No, we can't, unfortunately.
Yes, we
So-
can. We don't need to see this. We know what they're going to say.
Yeah, but it's worse than that. So I cannot find
What do you
the
mean
internet.
worse?
Yes. So let's talk about this, right? We've just covered the South African comments at the ICJ. So we're now also going to cover the Israel's comments at the ICJ. So you can check our last segment out for that. So first off, me and you both noticed, right, that they cannot find the International Court of Justice hearing on CNN, BBC, Channel 4, Fox News, MSNBC, CNBC, CBS, NBC, I-24, DW, Sky News, or any mainstream channel. Only Al Jazeera English so far. And I know, again, Consortium News, Roar Media, they also had coverage, so appreciate them. But your boy was premonition, Care Bear. January 11th. How much you want to bet mainstream media will cover the Israeli statements at the ICJ in stark contrast to the radio silence during the South African statements? Just calling it now. Guess what I got to do? I got to fucking gloat. Called it, bitches. Right? So there's Fox News, Sky News, and ABC making sure they covered it, and there were quite a few others that jumped on. Look, great minds think alike. Richie Medhurst, mainstream media are now broadcasting Israel's defense. Yesterday, they were nowhere to be found. When South Africa meticulously laid bare Israel's Holocaust of Gaza, if I were Israel, I'd rather they not show today's hearing. It's actually that bad. Okay.
But they did.
What they did. So, low key, the same channels that completely ignored South Africans' presentation at the International Court of Justice are now live streaming Israel's response to it. Seems racist. So, Chip Gibbons has a whole little thread that he has, right? So in a few minutes, Israel will be presenting its response to South Africa's claims of genocide before the International Court. Much like yesterday, it will be live tweeting the oral argument, right? So, Israel ambassador is speaking. In an age of identity politics, we reach for the most outrageous word, genocide. Doesn't apply to brutality against civilians in war. It has a more specific meaning. So that's where we're starting, Care Bear. So this guy, right? Remember him eye rolling last segment, right? We're going to get to him speaking. So just buckle up. You're going to need it. I'm sorry. First off, I'm sorry.
First, that if there have been acts that may be characterized as genocidal, then they have been perpetrated against Israel.
Bro, that's where we're starting. That's where we're starting. Us for the next 3 hours. Oh, fuck, dude. Okay, in context, it is a matter of public record that South Africa joins close relations with Hamas.
If there are any provisional measures that should appropriately be indicated here, they are
Hashtag everyone take a shot every time you hear Hamas.
Bro, you're going to kill people's livers. Don't do that.
Close relations with Hamas, despite its formal recognition as a terrorist organization by numerous states across the world. These relations have continued unabated even after the October 7th atrocities. South Africa has long hosted and celebrated its ties with Hamas figures, including a senior Hamas delegation that, incredibly, visited the country for a, quote, solidarity gathering just weeks after the massacre.
Proof?
In justifying instituting proceedings,
dude, they don't have any of that. Don't ask that.
South Africa makes much of its obligations under the Genocide Convention.
I'm still going to say it.
It
I
seems
feel you.
fitting then that it be instructed to comply with those obligations itself, to end its own language of delegitimization of Israel's existence, end its support for Hamas, and use its influence with this organization so that Hamas permanently ends its campaign of genocidal terror.
they have sexual relations with Hamas. So, you know, don't worry about it. Yeah, so great start, right?
Yeah,
Good
let's
start.
let's keep going.
Nico House,
just move.
trust me, I've got it. I got good stuff between things. So, Nico House, I'm confused. Let's just say it's true that South African government has close relations with Hamas. Does that somehow mean Israel didn't kill kids, target hospitals, churches, and refugee camps? I don't think these people understand the assignment. So, Nico killing it? So, Israel's legal team claims that South Africa's case profoundly distorted factual and legal picture, claiming it seeks to erase Jewish history. Okay? You mean like this history? Is this the history we're erasing? Them mentioning Holocaust survivors when Holocaust survivors are living below the poverty line in Israel. 1/3 of Israeli Holocaust survivors live in poverty. This is the AP. It's the AP. All right. So do you think it's the only word they know, Collin?
Hamas of Hamas, 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 Hamas of Hamas, 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 Hamadi, Hamas, Hamas, es Hamas, 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 Hamas to Hamas, at Hamas and Hamas, 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 Hamas. By Hamas, 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 if Hamas, Hamas, by Hamas, Hamas, of Hamas, 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 Hamas.
That was one guy.
We're
That was
done.
one dude. That was one dude. That was one dude.
How many times was that? I didn't think he said it that many times.
Yeah.
In that clip.
So, enter this fucking Disney villain looking motherfucker. Breaking, Israel's legal team says October 7th was the real genocide in this situation. Will the real genocide please stand up, they ask. So, this is huge, Care Bear. This is Ynet, right? Top Israeli newspaper, Yeduith Aronoth, confirms Israel used the Hannibal Directive on October 7th, which calls to kill Israeli hostages along with their captors. This is the exact quote from the paper. This is an Israeli paper, okay? At midnight on October 7th, the IDF ordered all of its combat units in practice to use the Hannibal Directive. Although without clearly mentioning this explicit name, the order was to stop at all costs any attempt by Hamas terrorists to return to Gaza. That is despite the fear that some of them have hostages. It is estimated that about 1,000 terrorists and infiltrators were killed in the area between the Otaf settlements and the Gaza Strip. It is not clear at this time how many of the hostages were killed due to the activation of this command. In the week after the attack, soldiers of elite units checked out 70 vehicles that were left in the area between the Otaf settlement and the Gaza Strip. These are vehicles that did not reach Gaza because on the way they were shot by a combat helicopter, an anti-tank missile, or a tank that at least in some cases, everyone in the vehicle was killed. Okay, we're going to bring up October 7th, right? So, here's some more boldface lies.
The immediate and proximate context for the specific allegations of genocide claimed by South Africa lies in the events of the 7th of October, when Hamas militants and other armed groups and individuals stormed into the internationally recognized sovereign territory of Israel and committed acts of barely credible atrocity. It was these events that truly constitute the real context for South Africa's allegations. Indeed, such acts may be seen as the real genocide in this situation. As the President of the European Commission put it on the 19th of October, there was no limit to the blood Hamas terrorists wanted to spill. They went home by home. They burned people alive. They mutilated children and even babies. Why? Because they were Jews. Because they were living in the state of Israel.
Okay,
And
first of all,
Hamas's explicit goal is to eradicate Jewish life from the Holy Land. These terrorists, supported by their friends in Tehran, will never stop. And so Israel has the right to defend itself in line with humanitarian law.
who is that? Who's president of the European Union? Someone in chat going to beat you to it? Right? That's who said that, right? President of the European Commission. Right? Who is that? Who is that? Cue Jeopardy music. No? Anyone at home?
I actually have no idea.
The immediate and
You know her. You love her. Ursula von der Leyen. Okay? In defending Israel at the ICJ, Malcolm Shaw, is who you just heard, opens with a patently false statement by EU's Ursula von der Leyen claiming Hamas butchered many babies on October 7th. Yet only one baby was killed on October 7th, Mila Cohen, shot by accident in Beirut. There's also no evidence that Hamas militants mutilated children, as Shaw and von der Leyen claim. The claim is based largely on testimony by known fabulist Yossi Landau of Zaka. Keep in mind, Shaw deployed von der Leyen's false statement as the linchpin of his claim that Hamas, not Israel, has committed genocide. Remember in our last segment, Collin, we said the ICJ has no jurisdiction over Hamas as they're not a state, and also that no. Right. So, look at this.
because they were living in the state
So what's that up on that? What's that?
of Israel.
Boo!
Hamas's explicit
Boo
goal is
this
to
man!
eradicate Jewish life from the Holy Land.
Boo this man! Okay? So, who was there? Remember? Who's out there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Claire Daly. Hashtag Fro-genocide strikes again. EU Commission President von der Leyen. Wrongful and reckless alignment of the EU with Israel relied upon in the ICJ in The Hague by Israel lawyer Malcolm Shaw to minimize, excuse, deny, and deflect from the genocide of which Israel stands accused. Here she is. You thought I wasn't going to let her speak last time, right? Well, think again.
We have called Ursula von der Leyen's Frau genocide. In my opinion, that is entirely what she is. She has no legal or moral authority to speak for anybody in the European Union, and yet she claims that Europe stands with Israel. That is patently wrong. The people of Europe, in their thousands and in their millions, stand with Palestine right across the board, and it is the leadership of Europe which is out of touch, not the people.
Yep. So, yeah, Claire Daly doing a damn
We
thing.
have called.
So, Israel's legal team calls South Africa presentation of statements of genocidal intent random assertions and claims that expulsion orders using phone calls and leaflets is anything but genocidal intent. Okay. Israel's legal team, the only category before this court is genocide. Not every conflict is genocidal. If claims of genocide were to become the common currency of our conflict, the essence of this crime would be diluted and lost. Okay. So
No, not
Tragic
this
and appalling that South
asshole.
Africa has decided to play advocate for the devil and serve as the legal arm.
Wait, he
I'm going
gets
to pause
served
you there,
up.
if I may, Mr. Levy, because
No, I've seen
almost every
this.
point
Okay.
I put to you or every question I ask you, you respond with an answer that is not relevant to the
hate
question.
Well, let me answer
I
directly
know.
then. The
Please.
lawyer there
I
who is
gotta play
serving
it
as
for
the
the
legal
people.
representative of Hamas, accusing Israel of genocide, is presenting a topsy-turvy reality in which Hamas
Like
does not
he's an
exist,
evil
it hasn't
Mr.
taken
Bean.
hostages,
Look
Israel
at-
decided one bright morning to start bombing Gaza. On October 7th, we suffered an act of genocide. We suffered an act of genocide when Hamas
said that
invaded
was
our country and boned,
bullshit.
beheaded, tortured, mutilated, raped, and abducted as many people as it could,
Uh-huh.
as brutally as it could. And in response, we have launched a defensive campaign with the Hamas regime. So clear, and we have been pursuing them in full accordance with international law.
And that is disputed. I want to ask you about these comments made by Israeli politicians since October the 7th, and hopefully we can bring up the quotes. Here we are. This is your president. It's an entire nation out there that's responsible. He's referring to Gazans. Have a look at this. The next one. We are now actually rolling out the Gaza Nakba. Nakba, as people know, is a term for catastrophe after the 1948 war, a war used by Palestinians about ethnic cleansing. And we all have one common goal, erasing the Gaza Strip from the face of the earth. Can you see why some people believe that you absolutely don't want Palestinians any longer in Gaza?
We think we have been very clear, both in word and in deed.
In those words?
Well, Mr. Venturi does not make decisions on security matters in Israel. We think we've been very clear, both in word and in deed, that the people of Gaza are not our enemy. Our enemy is the Hamas regime, and that is why we have gone further than any army in the history of the world to try to get civilians out of harm's way. Now, we just had the former...
I'm going to bring you back to the words of those politicians, if I may. We're now actually rolling out the Gaza Nakba. Nakba, the Palestinian term for ethnic cleansing. Those are the words of a government minister in your government.
Talk about a little bit of historical context, what the Palestinians refer to as the Nakba.
I'm just asking you about those words.
No, so I want to talk about that word Nakba. When the Palestinians use the word Nakba, they are referring to the consequences of the decision in 1948 to try to scuttle the creation of a Jewish state under the UN General Assembly resolution. They declared war in 1948. That war of annihilation did not go their way, and there were consequences as a result.
And how is that relevant to what your government minister has said now? Because what he is saying is we want to get rid of these people.
No, we do not want to get rid of these people. We have been very clear in word and in deed as a government, and as the Prime Minister and the Defense Minister have said, that we urge civilians to get to safety in the safe zone. We've been urging them to go to the safe zone.
There are no safe zones, you know that.
There is no. The Al-Mawasi zone has been rendered unsafe because Hamas has decided to shoot rockets at it.
Oh, of
Hamas
course.
decided to shoot rockets out of it, and the United Nations has said absolutely nothing about rockets being fired.
People near the Rafah crossing.
And it is absolutely tragic that Hamas continues to double down on its human shield strategy. I don't know whether your viewers understand the extent to which in the last 16 years, Hamas redesigned Gaza's cityscape in order to hide its military assets underneath civilian areas. And we have made extensive warnings for civilians to leave. We've placed 70,000 individual phone calls, dropped 7 million leaflets, 14 million phone calls, 14 million text messages. We have been going more than any army in history, and I'm quite happy to be fact-checked, more warnings than all armies in the history of counter-terrorism warfare put together to urge civilians to get out of harm's way. They are not our enemy. Our enemy is the rapist regime that perpetrated the atrocities.
There is no such thing out of harm's way in Gaza. I'm going to pause you there because we're out of time.
Creation of safe areas.
We're out of time. She's out. No, thank you. So yeah. I want to wait for Collin to get back because the judges felt the same fucking way, Care Bear. Looky what we have here, Care Bear. Even the judges fell asleep. Bye. They're literally asleep, Collin. Look at them.
Dispute, leaving the other party flummoxed.
Can I just say this? Elon Levy is
a fucking dickhead.
It's a special type of snarmy that like
I know, I feel you.
He's the type that I would meet in a dark alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can talk all you want, but can you catch these hands, bro?
Yeah, it's on site.
Leaving the other party.
Look at this dude. Look at him. He's fucking. We went night, Collin. He's like, oh, this is boring. That guy definitely. I think part of his strategy was to bore the judges.
Bore them to death.
Literally, I'm not even joking, Collin. I watched this shit cover to cover. Like, I think he literally, that was the strategy from this guy. So, look, literally, look. This is the, look. Okay. Like, so, bro, it gets worse. It gets worse.
This is particularly difficult in such an egregious matter as an allegation of genocide.
Come on. No, come on.
Were understood.
Can Full screen. God, hold on.
That's a sign, Reef. That's
I
a
know.
sign. Don't
Would you
play.
hush?
This
Like,
is
skip this
particularly
episode.
difficult
No.
in such an egregious matter as an allegation of genocide. Were understood by the...
This one isn't as long as my other one, so.
I know, but
I've lost a page.
I mean,
I'd rather watch the other one than this.
I feel you. You see what happened? Like,
Yeah, he had nothing else to say. He's
no,
like,
he had his papers out of order.
yeah, that's what I mean. He was just like,
So wait, look away.
Well, some has shuffled my papers.
This is why I want to watch this. I'm telling you, bro, we gotta watch. He blames someone else. Someone shuffled my papers. Who would have done it? Who would have suffered your papers? Who would have done it? Well, we have Collin. I have footage. I have footage of below the podium. I have
Question.
footage.
This approach appears also in Ukraine and Russia, where the court concluded that, on the basis of the evidence presented by the parties, it appears that some of the acts complained of by Ukraine fulfill this condition ability. In other words, the court was prepared to consider not only the question of the plausibility of rights, well, some has shuffled my papers. I've lost a page.
oh, thank God.
Bro, and he also had, he like started coughing halfway through, had to like do the fucking shaky Mark Rubio drink of water. It was like, it was fucking amazing.
Question.
Fucking, all right. Someone has shuffled my papers. Israel's inability to take accountability for fucking anything. Okay? Stares motherfuckerly in unison. Look at this fucking king back here. Look at that. The fuck are you? Like, bro. Bro. So fucking good. I love it to death. Right? This has been me since I started watching.
Don't lie. You see, don't lie on the public platform.
yeah. Don't
lie.
Don't lie.
Don't lie on the public platform.
Don't do it. That's definitely on the soundboard now, so thank you.
Yes.
yeah. So same, bruh. Same. This fucking man. Look at him. He's done. He's fucking done. Okay. This fucking lady. All right, we're gonna get into the meat of it. All right, so.
Oh,
and
God.
here, you can see a weapon that IDF forces discovered hidden inside.
There we go.
Incubators at the hospital.
So, do you catch this fucking bullshit?
And here,
no, wait, what?
You can see a weapon that IDF forces discovered hidden inside incubators at the hospital.
So she is claiming that Hamas put a 9mm pistol in a baby incubator. That's what she's claiming. Okay. It's that simple. That's it. It's that level of dumbness. Right? Here's more of the dumb.
Damage to civilian structures is another fact claimed by South Africa as evidence of genocide. But South Africa does not consider the sheer extent to which Hamas uses ostensibly civilian structures for military purposes. houses,
Again, take a shot.
schools,
I know.
mosques,
Dude, you
UN
fucking die.
facilities and shelters
what?
are all abused
You're
for
going
military
to?
purposes by Hamas,
this.
including as rocket launching sites.
Okay.
Hundreds
I
of
get it,
kilometers
right?
of tunnels dug by Hamas under populated areas in Gaza often cause structures above to collapse. In the slides before you, you can see a militant priming projectiles for launch on IDF forces in Gaza. You can see the holes in the residential house to hide and launch them. Here, you can see projectiles discovered underneath a bed in a child's bedroom. Here, a rocket being fired from a school. The launch site is circled in red. Here you can see firing from a UN school. You can see the letters UN on the roof, and the fire is circled in red.
Can you see that? Can you see
I
it says
actually
UN on the
cannot.
fucking roof? Neither could anybody
cannot.
else.
I cannot.
No. Fucking bullshit. I'm called bullshit on you. Bullshit, I say.
And here, long-range rocket launchers hidden inside a Scouts Club building.
Don't lie on the public platform.
Finally, you can see part of a tunnel that runs for 4 kilometers, including nearby the Erez crossing, which is adjacent to Israel. Gaza's infrastructure has certainly been harmed during the conflict. However,
in
South
the wild,
Africa would
blurry
have the
pics
court
with red
believe that
circles.
Israel is deliberately and unlawfully destroying homes without cause, but harm caused to lawful military objectives and harm caused as a result of Hamas's actions is not evidence of genocide. South Africa also alleges that Israel has waged an assault on Gaza's health system. What South Africa has neglected to bring before the court, however, is the overwhelming evidence of Hamas's military use of such hospitals.
Look at him on his phone.
Hamas militants
Bro,
retreated
he
to
just be
Rantisi
fucking-
Hospital in Gaza on October 7th with hostages from Israel, whom they then held in the basement. In the slide before you, you will see a
This is
militant going
equivalent,
into
like, in
Quds
high
Hospital
school.
with an RPG.
When the person is doing like a
Hamas
report
Look,
that's
fired at
like
IDF
another
forces
blurry
from near
picture
and
with
from
a red
within the Quds
circle.
Hospital. At Shifa Hospital, Gaza's largest, Hamas managed operations from a closed-off area. Here you can see an opening
they
to the
know where the
tunnel
shaft
that
is 'cause
ran
they
for
built
hundreds
it.
of meters directly under the hospital. Here you can see the weapons found in different wings of the hospital.
Okay, this is an MRI center. Okay?
right.
That's a lot of metal for an MRI center. I'm just saying,
Right.
like,
And here, CCTV footage showing armed militants bringing hostages into the hospital's lobby. More than 80 militants hiding inside another hospital, the Adwan
Yes, for
Hospital,
medical
surrendered
aid.
themselves to the IDF. And here, you can see a weapon that IDF forces discovered hidden inside
No,
incubators
Collin?
at the hospital. The direct
Collin, what do we know about the Geneva Code and what it states about bombing hospitals?
It's illegal.
With
It's a war
and does it
crime.
matter if there's militants inside it?
It does not.
Yeah. So, just, you know, in case
director
you
of
were
the hospital has
wondering.
Right.
No.
It's like that's not even the same hallway.
Right. Right. So let's go back. This is Vice. Okay. And he's gonna talk about missiles in civilian places. Okay.
I put the gun down. Israel will not stop killing us. We know the enemy. We tried everything with him. I'm talking about 3 deadly wars, 14 years of the siege. We're not talking about 1 or 2 or 3 years. There's no other solutions but this weapon.
A lot of the world thinks that you guys are a terrorist organization. Doesn't that affect your credibility?
You are saying that the US consider us as a terrorist because we are targeting civilians, but what about the Israelis?
The fact that you're down here in tunnels that have been built under civilian areas, you're launching rockets from civilian areas as well, doesn't that mean that you're endangering Palestinians that you claim to be fighting for?
Whatever happened, if we go down to our tunnels, if we stayed on our homes, if we stay sleeping and dreaming, the Israeli occupation will keep targeting the civilians. So you can say that this is the nature of the enemy. We are sacrificing ourselves and our times and everything we do in order to ensure a better future for our children.
But are you also not sacrificing the civilians that are directly above you?
Of course, we don't want them to get killed or to get targeted, but this is the only choice we have. This is what we can do, and they are supporting us. The one who started this war, not Hamas or not the Palestinians, but the Israeli occupation. And
but you guys fired the first rockets.
Who said that? We warned them. We tell them not to storm our holy land. We're talking about a holy site for Muslims. It doesn't mean that the first rocket was launched from Gaza, mean that we started the war. The first aggression is the occupation. They stormed our home. So it will keep going unless the Israelis stop their occupying for our lands.
Any questions?
No.
No, yeah. So, do you remember that attack on that mosque? Me and Indy sure do. We covered it. Here's what it looked like from the inside. I mean, looks like American police forces is what it looks like.
Yeah.
But it is not. That's the IDF. So, beating women and children. So, look at my boy. Look at him.
Is the overwhelming evidence of Hamas's military use
what am I
of
gonna
such
get for
hospitals.
dinner later? You know, like I found that very funny, as did you. So, also a little funny bit.
Entry of aid into Gaza. Israel, as publicly stated.
Did she just call it Israel? Because she sure did.
Entry of aid into Gaza. Israel, as
Yep, that's what it was. Israel. So, this one.
Hospitals have not been bombed. Rather, the IDF sends soldiers to search and dismantle military infrastructure, reducing damage and disruption. Indeed, the tunnel that sat directly under the main building in Shifa Hospital was exploded without damaging the building above. The IDF then withdrew from the hospital.
So all this justification of bombing a hospital, right? But we never did that. So let's... Do you think she's telling the truth there?
No.
Because this man doesn't.
Hello, who are you and why are you here?
Nick Maynard. I'm a surgeon in Oxford and I've been going to Gaza for nearly 15 years and I've just come out of Gaza.
The ICJ on Friday, the Israeli Defense legal team, said they're doing everything they can to safeguard hospitals in Gaza. Is that your experience?
Not at all. I saw the Israeli Defense Force destroy a hospital in 2014, the Al Wafa hospital. I visited just after that, having visited it before, and it was destroyed and reduced to rubble. On this occasion in Al Aqsa Hospital a week ago, I was in the hospital when an Israeli missile hit the intensive care unit. So I have seen incontrovertible evidence that they attack hospitals.
And some people would say, well, that's because they've got some Hamas inside the hospital firing missiles. Was that the case when the missile hit?
It was a single shot, a single missile that hit the hospital. There was no gunfire going on. I was in the hospital. There was no Hamas militants at all.
Any questions for people playing at home.
No, he's anti-Semitic though.
Oh, true. Yeah, just by wearing the kufi, he's anti-Semitic.
Hello, who are you?
Next. Thank you. So, while being on trial for genocide, Israel just bombed Khan Yunis in Gaza, resulting in casualties. So, in case you were wondering what they were up to while we were distracted by this. So, Germany intends to intervene as a third party in the ICJ genocide case against Israel, Care Bear. Germany says South Africa's case against Israel has no basis whatsoever and intends to intervene as a third party, right? Here we go. We firmly reject the accusation of genocide made against Israel. It has no basis whatsoever. We will therefore speak as a third party in the main hearing before the International Court of Justice. Okay?
I hope you're pulling out what I hope.
Well, Germany protecting fascists during a genocide. In other news, water is wet. Fiorella
Right.
Isabel. So you're talking about this
Thank
right
you.
here?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And I'm gonna read this bitch. So Namibia rejects Germany's support of the genocide of the 20th century in 1904, 1908, in which tens of thousands of innocent Namibians, okay, right, in the most tens of thousands of innocent Namibians died in the most inhumane and brutal conditions. The German government is yet to fully atone for the genocide it's committed on Namibian soil. Therefore, in light of Germany's inability to draw lessons from its horrific history, President Heigenagabov expresses deep concern with the shocking decision communicated by the government of the Federal Republic of Germany yesterday on the 12th of January, right? In which it rejected the morally upright indictment brought forward by South Africa before the ICJ that Israel is committing genocide against Palestinians, worryingly ignoring the violent deaths of over 23,000 Palestinians in Gaza and various UN reports disturbingly highlighting the international displacement of 85% of civilians in Gaza amid acute shortage of food and essential service. The German government has chosen to defend in the ICJ the genocidal and gruesome acts of the Israeli government against innocent civilians in Gaza, the occupied territories. But wait, there's more. Germany cannot morally express commitment to the UN Convention Against Genocide, including atonement for the genocide in Namibia, while supporting the equivalent of a Holocaust and genocide in Gaza. Various international organizations such as Human Rights Watch have chillingly concluded that Israel is committing war crimes. President Janigab relates his call made on 31 December. No peace-loving human being can ignore the carnage waged against Palestine and Gaza. In that vein, President Janigab appeals to the German government to reconsider its untimely decision to intervene as a third party in defense and support of the genocidal acts of Israel before the ICJ. Okay. So, Sabby Sabs.
In other words, sit
Go ahead.
down.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Germany.
Keep my
You
wife's
have no
name
right to
out your
talk.
mouth. So the same so again, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau denies that Israel has been committing genocide, that his country rejects the premise of South Africa's case at the ICJ, right? Sabby Sabs, the same Justin Trudeau that wore blackface in against South Africa's claim against Israel. Shocker. Okay, so Collin, we do have a Hamas counter, okay, for the ICJ trial, right? So 134 times.
I have a Hamas counter! Hamas counter! And I'm gonna tally up every time they say Hamas. I'm probably gonna fill up this whole board. We're gonna see together.
From Hamas's own, it's unsurprising, therefore, thousands of Hamas and other militants breached Israeli...
Despite Hamas's attempts at obstruction.
This one's gonna be a long one, folks.
The same Hamas has built the desired outcomes of Hamas.
Someone has shuffled my papers.
Someone has shuffled? Yeah. Hamas did it. We have ended with 137. 137 Hamas mentions in this 3-hour session. This is the final Hamas counter. Probably even more than this because they say it so much. I probably missed some of them. So one every minute on average almost. This is too much. For Hamas not being the issue, this is unacceptable. This is inappropriate. This is not allowed. For Hamas not being the issue, which it is not. If they wanted to target Hamas, then target Hamas. But you are targeting innocent civilians. 12,000 kids have been killed so far in the past 3 months. I'm not talking about any day before that, any day before October 7th. I'm not talking about the thousands of prisoners, quote unquote, which are hostages that are held hostage in jails in the West Bank. Thousands of which are not charged for any crimes at all. I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about the kids that have been dying. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm only talking about since October 7th till today, 12,000 kids have been killed, thousands under the rubble which have not been found. Hundreds of families wiped off the record, wiped off the radar. Every single family member in hundreds of families are completely gone. Last names have been completely demolished. This is unacceptable. Hamas is not the issue. You are killing innocent lives. You are killing kids. You are killing babies. You're killing pregnant women. You are killing innocent people. This should not be a thing. Every minute you are mentioning Hamas. This is disgusting, unacceptable. The genocide in Gaza must stop. The occupation in Palestine must be put to an end. The apartheid of Israel must be put to an end. We need to see a free Palestine from the river to the sea. And when we say from the river to the sea, what do we mean? Give the Palestinians equal rights is what we mean. There are 65 Israeli laws that go against Arabs that live in Israel. Okay, you cannot tell me that there is no apartheid. You cannot tell me that there are no illegal settlements in the West Bank. You cannot tell me that Gaza has not been blockaded for the past 16 years and water, electricity, and every source of human needs is controlled by Israel, land, air, and sea. You cannot tell me that 2 million Gazans have been displaced in the past 3 months, majority of which have been displaced for the second time, multiple times. Majority of those that were displaced in Gaza in the past 3 months were displaced in 1948 during the Nakba of 1948, where 750,000 Palestinians were displaced from their homes, hundreds of villages were destroyed, and thousands were killed. There's no Hamas in power in the West Bank, and there's an occupation going on with illegal settlements and thousands being held hostage. And the occupation started in 1967 for the West Bank. If you want to be like more technical, 56 years of occupation, and Hamas has been around since 1988. That is less than 56 years. Anyways, love you guys. Hamza signing off. Hamaza. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. End of the stream. I'm done. I have a Hamas.
This guy, right, at Hamza _1948. Go follow him.
I have a
thank you. Okay, so during the trial, they brought these women, this footage down here at the bottom. Okay. See, the video is still processing, but I don't need it because we know these people. These are the dancing TikTok Israeli ladies, right? So is there a reason these people on your screen are unworthy of protection? I don't know. Maybe because they are IOF soldiers who are gleefully making TikToks and then threw on some makeup and pretended to be hostages. So that's one of the things brought in the trial. So, next. Okay. This is Israel's defense summary. Okay.
Honorable Matisa. Like that. Honorable Matisa. Yes. Honorable Matisa. Honorable Matisa. That's the only thing that she knows. Honorable Matisa.
Yes. Hong. I love that one. So me, if I was there at the ICJ. Anyway, did you see what they put this man in after this, by the way? This was in America. And like they put man in like the whole fucking Silence of the Lambs mask afterwards. It was crazy. Oh, shit. So anyway, sending love to all South African Jews today. I can't imagine their pain and trauma and feelings of betrayal at the hands of the side. They were fine. They were fine. They were good. They were good. They were just fine. So don't worry about it. But so Israel at the ICJ, we tell people to flee our bombs if we want to commit it. Why would we tell people to flee if we wanted to commit genocide? Israel in practice. Israel said Gazans could flee to this neighborhood. Then it was hit. Using on-the-ground footage, satellite imagery, and mapping software, Sky News found that a building in Del Arbala was hit on 5th December, one day after Israel told civilians they could flee to the city. Okay, that's Sky News. So, you know, for those not watching Israel's arguments, they're not actually arguing that they haven't committed genocide. They're saying the ICJ should dismiss the case based on the way South Africa submitted the application. I repeat, Israel is not denying that it is committing genocide. So, Fiorella, Isabella, you know her, too long didn't read from Israel's defense today. They really said this stuff. We did nothing wrong, didn't violate international law. Lies. October 7th was the real a big lie. Israel has every right to defend, lol. Israel is only at war with Hamas. Sure. Israel has done everything to protect civilians. Ha! You're all anti-Semitic and predictable. South Africa works with Hamas. Yikes.
Racist. You should have said racist and racist.
Yeah, yep. So, this is Craig Murray, and he was there as well, right? You can check out this article at craigmurray.org.uk. He covered both days. So what do I think will happen? Some sort of compromise? The judges will issue provisional measures different to South Africa's request, asking Israel to continue to take measures to protect the civilian pop or some such guff. Doubtless the State Department have drafted something like this for the president of the court, the American John Donahue. That was the chief judge. I hope I am wrong. I would hate to give up on international law. One thing I do know for certain, these 2 days in The Hague were absolutely crucial for deciding if there is any meaning left in notions of international law and human rights. I still believe action by the court could cause the US and UK to back off and provide some measures of relief for now. Let us all pray or wish each in our own way for the children of Gaza. So, Craig Murray killing it. Again, how ICJ is expected to vote. Pro-genocide, pro-humanity, and the swing votes. In case people were wondering. Right? So, you know. Robert Durden, 100 days of genocide, 100 days of innocence buried under concrete, 100 days of children flattened, 100 days of doctors doing surgery as their hospitals are bombed with no anesthesia, 100 days of Zionists losing the narrative. We won't forget these 100 days. And a fitting little cartoon to showcase the second day of Israel on trial at the ICJ. Wasn't me, pretty much. So make sure to leave a comment, share, like, and subscribe, and help INN get to 2K. Collin, any thoughts?
I do appreciate you putting in some funnies in there.
Yeah, I had to. You weren't, and I definitely didn't bring nearly as much as I had for South Africa because that stuff was just better. But
yeah, I mean, you didn't need to, but
no,
yeah, but I am hoping, as Craig said, I hope there is within The Hague that there is some semblance of justice here.
Yeah.
Because if they get this wrong.
Dude, I mean, this is what people are saying, that this is the court on trial themselves. So, you know, it's essentially like, are they guilty or innocent? And we'll see.
Right.
I'll let you know. So,
but all the same, well, I can argue millions really of lives are at stake here. So, you know, not just in Gaza, but the world at large, because the Arab community is watching. We are watching. And so if the ICJ gets this wrong, then really, can we really trust any aspect of our judicial system anywhere in the world?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Bryce is saying they get this wrong, this is it. Like, so we'll see what happens, but I think South Africa did the damn thing.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, no matter what happens, it just so that, and I said this on Twitter, when Black people, when we are prepared for shit and we come on the ready, you know, we change the world. And let's hope that their efforts actually amount to
more
some justice.
Laura